viable option at that point. And it kind of just kicked me out of League entirely. But it occurred to me no one gives a shit in ARAM. So I've been playing some ARAM, and God, man, I've really missed League. And
You're gonna have to define ARAM.
ARAM is all random, all mid.
Oh, okay.
So you end up with some weird team comps and champions you wouldn't necessarily play. It's definitely not, but it's been useful because I just don't have the mechanics right now. The knowledge of the current game meta. So ARAM's teaching me about what the new skills are for certain reworked champions, and what the new items are. So. Good God, being stuck in laning for 45 minutes, that sounds horrible. Horrible. Well, speaking of League, let's get into our first hot pot issue of the day or week. So, the Overwatch Professional League now has 7 official teams on the books as of this week. 3 of those teams will have current professional sports franchise owners. Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots, Jeff Wilpon of the New York City Mets, and also, I can't remember who it was, and I apparently don't have it on the docket, but the Miami Heat of the NBA also have a stake in the Misfits Overwatch team. So each of these teams are going to have a city attached to them, like, New England or Boston, New York City, Miami. I think we also have one in Seoul, Korea, and so on. Yeah. But official league play is still going to take place in LA, meaning that you'd imagine that teams would likely live near LA or within the northern or southern? I don't know. California area.
It's about mid.
Mid? Okay.
Yeah.
And then assumedly back to the representative cities during the off season. But a much higher ratio of spectators watch competitive gaming through online streaming than instead of in person, and that's probably true of every sport like football and baseball and so forth. But it's a much higher ratio, like where you can fit in tens of thousands of people in even the most modest stadiums. You have maybe 100 people in your typical esport, I hate that, competitive gaming studio. I'm not talking about like when it's at Staples Center, because not every match is going to be at Staples Center or at a stadium.
Why not?
Well, because there's just not enough people watching. Like,
why not?
So my first question is, like, do you guys think it's even necessary to have city associations to these teams at this point?
Yes.
Why do you think so?
This is me kind of playing the weird straw of this one, but I'm guessing with a city association, that's kind of how people with normal sports get into their team, because it's associated with the city. Because you say, hey, you live in this place, you got to support this team, basically.
But do you...
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like so with Nebraska football
Yeah,
for
the
their college,
Cornhuskers.
Cornhuskers.
And
So if you go to Atlanta, there are two major colleges there. They don't sell any paraphernalia for either college because they'd have to sell it for both. Like if you go into like a Target, there's no Buzz or the Bulldog, Bumblebee and Bulldog. But yeah, either way. So
I get you with that, but I just wonder if it's maybe too early to try and apply traditional sports. When I say franchising, I don't necessarily mean the business model, but like city or location based franchising methodology here. I also think that like this whole development too is interesting, considering that like after they never announced specifically what their franchising fee was going to be, but a lot of the like we'll say more popular and more established Overwatch teams, loads of which included TSM, Complexity, Denial Esports, Dignitas as well, if I'm not mistaken. But a handful of them ended up dropping their Overwatch teams because, as the rumors say, they had franchise fees as high as $20 million, as well as some other things like they wouldn't have revenue sharing until 2020, I think was what one of the rumors claimed. Yeah, and to buy in that much when, in comparison, the NALCS buy-in for League was $1.8 million, I think specifically. Not to mention that that's in their 6th or 7th year of competitive league play. It just seems like surprising that people are willing to like invest that much money in more or less untested waters at this point.
well,
You would imagine, at least.
yeah.
And it probably isn't a big dent to them if it fails, because I mean,
I was about to say tax write-offs at that point.
yeah, and like the NFL in comparison is like billions of dollars in terms of like as an industry. Like, right.
Go big or go home, Neil. Go big or go home.
I know one of the things following this announcement was further criticism towards the lack of like a dedicated spectator mode or a spectator feature set, if you will. But it's hard for me to discuss too much into that because I like the only competitive first-person shooter game I've been able to watch any length of time was CS:GO, and it's just purely based on the fact that it's sudden, or not sudden death, but it's
Quick.
yeah, it's
One
quick.
life to live.
Yeah, one life. Thank you.
YOLO.
You you truly do only live once.
And then the next round starts.
Exactly. But it's a lot easier to like understand where a match is going because there are 3 people dead, and there's 1 person dead on the other team. Like, so when there's a big comeback, you know it because one guy just offed 5 other people. I think
Makes
that's
sense.
the same size. Yeah, exactly. When you are at the heightened excitement, like your heightened excitement of the last two people alive, it's there because they are the only two people alive. You're not going to spectate over a dead corpse. I you might not even be able to do that
I was
technically.
about to
But
say, I like spectating over dead corpses. Not without.
so, are you suggesting like a third-person camera instead? You had some thoughts, Cookie?
Lost the ball.
I, I think the exact word or the exact phrase I read multiple times was that what Overwatch suffers from, not from a gameplay standpoint, but from a spectator sport standpoint, is that it doesn't have a ball. So if you watch basketball, football, you just center the camera on the ball, and you can catch any of the ancillary actions in replays. But without that ball, like you said, Scott, there's no way to know where the action's going to go. And I think League even has this problem in that they miss action on occasion. But what allows League to at least perform a little better is that the default camera angle is already top down, so you're able to see multiple characters or players at once. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Good points. Moving on, you might know of Edmund McMillan. His projects include Super Meat Boy and The Binding of Isaac. His next game, The End Is Not, is out now. Are you guys excited for this game?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone's interest just perked up though in the room.
Just tell them about that cube game. Like Milo Elo.
Oh, which we'll have to play.
What about
today,
you,
by the
Scott?
way.
You don't have to be PC. It's okay. I did watch some of your platforming skills in action over Hollow Knight. You were dying a lot. I think it was spectate, like, it was the nervousness of being spectated. Cookie, what was the game that our contributor just gave you? Or reminded you
Death
of?
Cubed.
Death Cubed.
Death Cubed.
Does that mean it's death to the third power?
Yeah, even though it's a 4-player game, actually. It's a puzzle game.
For player, though, co-op? Or...
Yep, 4-player co-op puzzle game. I can't tell you much about it. Just bought it, though, so haven't played it.
Gonna
Saw
have to do a
video
play
on it.
date sometime soon, then.
It's on the Switch.
How many players on
4.
one Switch? 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think.
I have a
maybe.
Pro Controller now, so
Ooh, you fancy, huh?
I'm super fancy.
You don't need a Pro Controller for this one.
I would prefer to use a Pro Controller over
I'll use it as a joystick.
I hate... Oh, wait. In the vertical or horizontal mode?
Vertical.
Okay.
You just use a joystick in the vertical mode.
I can get behind that. I hate using those horizontally.
I still don't mind them.
I feel like my my first joints or my second joints in my knuckles, and my hands, I mean my knuckles, whatever, are
How much are you playing that you need to use the controllers for that long?
hours upon hours in Mario Kart. No, even just within the short periods of time we've played, it's just they're uncomfortable. My hands feel too big, and it's like, in that specific grip type, they can't relax as much.
No, that makes sense. That's
So-
why I bought the second set of Joy-Cons.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I never have to worry about that.
So, well, we could technically all go full grip then if we wanted to, right?
Mhm.
Great, excellent. Can you hook up two switches together to play the same, like, over
Yeah,
LAN?
I guess. I don't know. I literally just bought it and was like, oh, this game's actually out. Cool.
All
So
right.
I can't give you any kind of updates on it at all.
Death Cubed. We'll have to look into it.
Yep.
Next on the list, Splatoon 2's headset adapter is available for pre-order. Has been, I should say, for $30. So that's the headset and the dongle put together. My question, because I have a very skewed opinion of audio and audio accessories at this point, is that worth it?
I don't want to talk to people when I'm playing games on the Switch now. Price-wise, I guess, yeah, but
Yeah.
when it comes to all the rigmarole to actually set everything up and play it, it seems like more of a hassle. It seems like hooking up VR hassle without the payoff of VR.
But see, when I see that headset, like, I pieced out everything in terms of adapters and then potentiometers, and I look at that price. So that's a specific Splatoon set of headphones with a microphone and with the
Dongle.
elaborate adapters to connect your phone and Switch together. Yes, it's stupid. And yes, I wish they had designed the Switch a little better in regards to communication over the game client. But that price is actually not bad, assuming the headphones don't sound like utter shit. That is a lot for $30.
I think you're mainly just buying the dongle, and they're just throwing in the headset for free.
But I think the headset's wired in to the dongle. I
I
could
hope
be
the
wrong.
headset's not wired into the dongle.
Oh, trust me, I hope it's not too, but I think it is.
Okay.
Oh, Yo, it's definitely not. And it seems almost too long if you were just playing it right in front of, like, in the handheld form, too. Like, 5 feet's a lot of cable.
So I'll take all my things back about this dongle because I haven't seen its size compared to anything.
And see, I don't think it's going to be much larger than, much thicker than a phone, and probably half the size of your standard cell phone in terms of the width and height, or width and length, whatever.
I can accept that a little bit more, but I was always thinking it was going to be like the size of a cell phone. And for some reason, my mind just went, it's going to be the size of a cell phone. I'm like, that's too big.
And so even then, it's not something that's going to be hanging. I'm assuming it's going to be like set on a table or something, or on your thigh or something, or I don't know. If we accept the issue of the lack of call support with the Switch, like that is a problem, and it's a pre-established problem, this is probably the most elegant solution. Because as I started to think about, well, okay, if I wanted to use my mic and my headphones with a Switch that's docked, the amount of shit I'd have to hook up to get it to work. I would either need like a standalone mixer or an audio interface with internal routing like I have at home, which, you know, is like a rack-mounted unit. And just for the common person that doesn't have those things and doesn't have a background in audio engineering and recording, like that is too much to recommend. Not to mention if you're just buying that gear for the first time, it's going to be pricey. Like a shitty Behringer mixer is going to at least cost $40, $30 on its own, and that's without the cabling. You get the adapters and the cabling, you've just doubled that at this point, because the accessories oftentimes cost more than, or not more, but often cost more than you would expect.
Yeah.
And if you get shitty accessories, like we found out today, they hardly work, apparently. So that's the thing. I don't know if there's anything else that needs to be said on it. Fake news.
I just want... Send us an email. Are particularly short, because you gotta also think about handheld.
I don't know how you guys have been faring, but it seems like everyone I've talked to is either always using it handheld or they always have it in the dock. Like, or heavily. It's not one or the other. It's not like a healthy mix.
So... Since we've gotten back from Chicago...
Jesus.
It's just been sitting in its case. The dock has been sitting in the case.
So constant handheld for you.
Always in handheld, though.
I
This is a new Game Boy.
When I play it, I never play it handheld. Like, I think it plays fine handheld, but I just prefer it to be, you know, I keep my hands a little closer together. I've played enough PSO with the GameCube keyboard controller. If you don't know about that, there's literally a GameCube between the two handles. It's stupid. But yeah, I prefer to have it docked, and I always dock it when I play it, with a few exceptions. Whereas my girlfriend, I don't think has played it docked ever. So, for us, we're splitting it. Well, I guess I don't play that much to begin with. Anywho, hopefully you'll be able to join that conversation soon, Scott.
Hopefully.
Snowboard season. No, just don't snowboard. Snowboard on your Switch.
We should go boarding together.
Hey, let me tell you what. The Switch was dropped from 1,000 feet through a drone. You can find it on YouTube. That Switch survived. So you could probably snowboard on these switches. A couple switches.
Or just one.
Our last topic on in the hot pot, Ark Survival has increased or the Ark Survival. Fuck, how do I word this? Ark Survival's price has doubled within this last week, and it's apparently drawing up a shitstorm on Steam. Cookie, you want to tell us a bit about this?
So I was looking at Ark Survival the other day, thinking to myself, I want to play this because I'm hearing nothing but good things. So I watched about. I'm gonna be honest with you, maybe like 15 minutes of gameplay. Out of the 2 hours of gameplay I watched, I was bored. So I decided not to get this game, and the game at the time was $30. People were super stoked about this game because it's been in early access for the past like 5 years or so, and they finally announced that they're going to have a release date. And with the release date comes physical copies, and with physical copies comes developers not wanting to piss off retailers, so there needs to be a price parity with physical games versus digital games, excluding things going on with the Switch. So the price kind of doubled, and now remember how